What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, am from the WiseTake Nation, which you can find on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can see it on the screen. We are a premium DFS content provider as well as a DFS community designed to make you a better DFS player. If you're interested in stepping up your game, go check us out at WiseTake.com for more information. Real quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you're notified whenever we do go live. You don't miss out. We go live Monday through Friday for NBA content. We have all kinds of DFS content we put on the channel, so make sure you don't miss out, whether it be on here, on YouTube, or on Twitch, twitch.tv/WiseTake, if that's what your preference is. And those of you who are a fan of the show, if you could like the video, the likes go a long way. If you could hit the like button, really helps us out, allows us to continue to do the dirty for the WiseTake Nation, which is what we live for. So if you get that like button, that'd be great. We've got an interesting slate. I think as I was writing the game-by-game breakdown at WiseTake.com, it seemed like I didn't see a ton of stuff that was standing out like strong. It looked like Boston was kind of looking good, and they still do. But obviously with Giannis out, a lot of the ownership is going to rush right over to the Milwaukee side, which is hard to argue against Washington. So there's some interesting things we'll talk about. This is going to create a lot of lower ownership on other players. I get the feeling it's going to be one of those things where, especially after the chalk busted so hard yesterday, I feel like it's going to be one of the things where the chalk comes strong and it's going to take those one or two pivots to get right on. But we'll see. I mean, maybe some of the stuff, I think a lot of the stuff I like is chalky. I know the Milwaukee stuff, but some of the other stuff like we'll get into, I'm not quite sure, but I'm anticipating them being chalk because the rest of the slate wasn't that great when I looked around. There's a ton of studs, but even with Ersan Ilyasova, there's not a ton of value to fit them in. So I think that a lot of these studs like Luka and maybe even Trae Young and some of these guys will be lower owned, especially with like how deep the mid tier is. And at point guard is one of the deeper positions. There's a few guys that I think we could work with over there. But it's going to be an interesting slate. I get the feeling it's going to be a high scoring slate. Maybe some people after the Hartenstein thing, I don't know, Ilyasova is probably going to start and it's just going to smash. So it's not the same thing at all. But I will say this about the Hartenstein. I'd like to move on. I like to live in the past. But I will say this about the Hartenstein thing. I'm not even mad at him, bro. Like, you can't really blame him. I'm not mad at D'Antoni either because D'Antoni played the guys who were going to give him the best chance to win. I blame Rudy Gobert for just getting punked by P.J. Tucker. I mean, I'm not going to talk shit about the guy. He's a great basketball player, but he got punked, man. P.J. Tucker, and props to P.J. Tucker. I'm not downplaying him. He's one of the best defenders in the league for sure. Strong dude. Even at his size, all that stuff. But yeah, with that said, we'll go ahead and get into this little game-by-game breakdown. Hour one is with me. These are the WiseTake Nation projections you see on the screen. They come with the WiseTake membership, including a day pass if you want to download them, upload them into the optimizer of your choice, whatever you use. These are the projections that I use. These are the projections that I make. So go check it out at WiseTake.com if you're interested. It does not look like this, full disclosure, when you go to the site to get them. This is a visual I made just so I can go through with FanDuel and DraftKings and give you guys something to look at aside from my beautiful face. So with that said, let's go ahead and get things rolling with the first game. We've got the Golden State Warriors visiting the Philadelphia 76ers. Right out the gate, we got some news we're waiting for, more so on the 76ers side, but we have a 215.5 total up from 213. The Sixers are 12-point favorites in this one. We'll start with Golden State. Not a ton. I think that Damian Lee's price is coming down. He hasn't played very well, and the minutes haven't been as strong as they once were, but the price is starting to come down to a point where we can start considering him again. Marquise Chris projects well. I'm a little nervous if Embiid plays. I mean, if Embiid plays, you feel like they're going to need him on the court more. We saw him and Spellman. Neither of them played significant minutes. I mean, Chris got enough, I guess, but they did play Draymond a lot at the 5. So this is something to keep an eye on going forward. So if Embiid plays, you would think they would feel like they need a big on the court, but that wasn't the case with the Rockets yesterday. Not to mention if Embiid plays, we got to see if there's any kind of limitation or whatever the case may be. I'm surprised we haven't heard yet because he was supposed to get checked out by the doctor It's 5:12, and I can't believe we haven't heard any news on it yet. Unless it came out and I missed it. If you're in the chat, let me know. I'll pop in there and take a look. But as far as I know, we don't got no Embiid news yet. So I'll probably end up with some Chris. Center is not that strong in my opinion. At least not like, I don't know. To me, it just wasn't that strong in general to me. So my player pool at that position is going to be pretty small between Ersan Ilyasova, who on DraftKings is center eligible, and some of the other guys that we like. But I do think Chris is an option. Draymond's actually interesting. Another guy that's hard to say, like he's not always playing 34, 35 minutes, so we got him projected for 31, and he still projects well at his price. They're playing a good team. Maybe he steps up a little bit. I'm a little nervous about them getting blown out. They're not a good team. They're all the way across the country. Philly is a good team, but there's a chance. And even in a blowout, you would think Draymond could play 30 minutes. So I am kind of interested. It's just kind of hard to see where he fits into this. D'Angelo Russell is my favorite play from the team. He's my favorite play from this game in general. 8K on FanDuel, I'm not as excited, but I'm still cool with it. On DraftKings, I'm getting a lot of him, and I think that's partially a lot of the guards I'm getting a lot of, like him, Kemba Walker, obviously Middleton, and obviously Bledsoe. So there's a lot of those guys. So I think that D'Angelo Russell on DraftKings is one of the stronger options. Philly is normally a better defensive team. It definitely helps that Josh Richardson is out. Ben Simmons is a pretty good defender, so it is what it is. But at the same time, it's hard to defend guys who are good jump shooters. So if his shot is falling, it shouldn't really be a big deal. Just a matter of how much he plays in this game and how efficient he plays. So that's always risky. But in tournaments, we know he's got massive upside. That's pretty much it from here. On the next team, Sixers. So if Embiid plays, this is a smash spot. If he's not limited, then I'll raise his minutes. We got him at 29 for now because we don't want to forget about him completely. But at the same time, we don't know if he's playing. So we don't want to put him anywhere where it'll give us any substantial ownership. So I'm willing to change some of this stuff. Ben Simmons, if Embiid is out, then I'll probably raise Tobias Harris by a minute or so, raise Horford by a minute, raise Simmons by a minute or two. He's been playing monster minutes. But if Embiid is in, I'll probably leave them where they are and just raise Embiid a little bit up to, I would say at least 31. If I don't hear anything, at least like 32 or so. It was a finger injury, so it was a pretty nasty one. That his shit was pointing all different kinds of directions, but it was still just a finger injury. So it's not like a lower body thing. So we'll see. We'll see if he even plays, and if he does, how much he plays. But Embiid would be the strongest option in my opinion because everybody else's prices are up as if he's out. So if he's in, I feel like everybody becomes kind of overpriced, but their ownership is going to be low. And they got like no resistance, none of them. This is not a good defensive team right now. So as we say, game time decision. That's the update we got. 5:14 game time decision. So we'll see. We'll obviously get that at some point on this show because it's the first game going. We'll go on to the next game. Real quick, guys, if you're just joining us, welcome again. Please hit the like button. Like the video. It helps us out. Goes a long way. We're on the likes campaign, doing dirties, dropping sevens on a regular. And the like button is what fuels us to continue. All right, let's go to the next game. We've got the New York Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets. Just sounds glorious. We've got a 208.5 total, down from 210. So when you thought it couldn't get any lower, it did. Charlotte, it's what happens when you play Charlotte. They play very, very slow. Even though they're terrible defensively, which I guess is the counter, right? If you're terrible defensively, to slow shit down, limit the opportunities for the opposing team. I get it. But for fantasy purposes, it kind of puts us in a weird place. Kind of sucks. With that said, we've got, like I said, a 208.5 total. The Knicks are 1.5 point underdogs. Part of that is probably due to the schedule. Charlotte is one of the more rested teams. So is Milwaukee. We'll talk about that later. Let me just pull up the schedule notes from our boy Jay Irv. Free article over at WiseTake.com. I recommend you start your day with it. He usually gets it up early. Does it almost like pretty much every day. Once in a while, obviously things happen you can't, but does a great job with it. Golden State, by the way, 3 days rest. Philly, 2 days rest. I forgot to mention that. They're both two of the more rested teams also. So I would give them a little boost in terms of being well rested and whatnot. But yeah, the Knicks they've had a day off. This is the front end of a back-to-back for them. Charlotte's had 3 days off, so they should be nice and rested. Starting with the Knicks side, Mitchell Robinson on FanDuel is looking like a decent option. Obviously, he's risky. He's got a very low floor. Foul trouble can be an issue. He played Brooklyn. It was a phenomenal matchup, and unfortunately got into foul trouble, and I think he fouled out. It was embarrassing. But he's got massive upside if he could stay in the game, especially in a matchup like this against Charlotte. Marcus Morris has been playing really well. On FanDuel, his price is still reasonable. On DraftKings, it's starting to get up. Like, he's still in tournament reach. It's just like now the expectations, like, he could actually burn you now. He can go for that. Whereas when he was in the fives, it was kind of tough to envision him burning you. Now he could burn you a little bit, but he's still within reach. He's got big upside. Not one of my favorite plays, but an option. Elfrid Payton's been very consistent, but they finally raised his price. This slate is just loaded with point guards. I just don't see how much Elf. I don't see myself getting a lot of Elf. Randall on FanDuel I do like at 7,400. On DraftKings at 86, it is a phenomenal matchup. He is going to, bigs in general, whether it be fours or fives, have done the dirty to Charlotte. His usage has been great. It's just hard to pay 8.6. Now, I do think that's going to lower his ownership, but you can see we got him projected for 34 minutes, and he's still projecting for like 4.54x. It's just, unless you have like your randomness setting extremely high, it just seems unlikely they're going to give you any Randall in this situation. So that's really it. Maybe some Mitch, maybe some Morris. I don't mind Elf, but Randall on FanDuel I do like. The Knicks in general look a little stronger on FanDuel, but everybody else does too. It's FanDuel's pricing. It's just been really soft. Going over to the next one, we've got the Charlotte Hornets. So Cody Zeller always kind of projects somewhat well. Always risky. Not going to play more than like 22, 23 minutes. It does look like they've gotten, like Bismack Biyombo's not playing a whole ton, but they have worked in Hernan Gomez from time to time. PJ Washington has played some center. They've gone a little smaller and brought Marvin, bumped everybody down a little bit. So not a ton that I like. I think Malik Monk got like 30-something minutes in the last game. I think they were in Paris, right? Batum ended up playing a lot, so some of these guys didn't get their full extent of minutes. As usual, the main plays for me are really Rozier and Graham. I don't mind the other guys. Zeller, I may actually end up getting some Zeller. It's not a bad spot for him. It's just a matter of what he does with the limited time he gets. But it's really Devontae Graham. I think that maybe on a minute projection, we could probably afford to give him another bump. Let's see what he's been doing. Went through this earlier, but let's take a look. Yeah, the minutes have come down a little. Against Milwaukee, he had 5 fouls, played 32 minutes. Against Orlando, he played 36. That was a blowout. Against Denver, also kind of a blowout, 37. So we could probably give him 36.5 to 37. Let's see what we got for him right now. What do we actually got? What you see on the screen is rounded, so it's not the real. You know what I mean? I'm going to look at the real. I'll tell you guys in a second. Come on, man. Oh, you son of a... Playing games. We got him for a straight 36, so I mean, I think you could. It's an option. He's going to be low owned. He's a guy that you usually want some of. Let me see if I was even getting any of him. I didn't even notice, to be honest. Nah, I wasn't, so maybe I should give him a little credit. I mean, matchup-wise, the Knicks are not a good defensive team, so you could definitely see it. They are at home. They're rested, so I probably will. I'm going to raise him to 36.5. Not going to give him the full 37 because I don't necessarily think that's a lock, but we'll see what that does here in a second once it populates, as we get some population action. It's got to bump him up close to 40 raw points at that point. His price on FanDuel also very attractive. He's shooting guard eligible over there, so it helped. It didn't make that big of a difference. Maybe we do get aggressive. I mean, he hasn't played in a while. If we go for the 37. Because like D'Lo and some of these guys are projecting like way better. So if you want to get some exposure to him, you have to keep him somewhat competitive. I don't expect it to give me way more. Also keep in mind Kemba's out of the position. So just some things we got to think about here. If we go to the full 37, he goes up to 40. 5.4x would be the projection. I'm going to leave him at 36.5 for now. I just wanted to see what he would look like. But, yeah, I mean, he can definitely play 37, 38. He was playing bigger minutes before. And this game figures me more competitive. The spread is tight, so you would think he's going to play one of his ceiling-type minutes. So maybe we will. We'll see. I guess it depends on what we're coming up with. We'll get some feedback from Paulie in the second part and keep it moving. But let's get out of this game. This game is not that great. It's really just him. If you want to play Rozier instead, I'm fine, but it's really just Graham from that side. The next game is kind of interesting. We've got the Atlanta Hawks visiting the Toronto Raptors. We have a 234 total. Toronto 12.5-point favorites at home. Starting, obviously, it's one of the higher total games on the slate. I think it's the second highest. Should be very fast paced with Atlanta there. John Collins on FanDuel is priced well. I think that Kevin Huerter is too, although we know his floor is not as exciting as we like. On DraftKings, both of their prices are a little more up and can be a little tougher to reach. I think Collins is definitely a strong option. He's going to play some center today. There's some risk of foul trouble, especially lately. I think he fouled out against Washington of all teams. But with Alex Len and Bruno Fernando is doubtful. I think right now we still have him in here. I'll make some updates to that in a second. But Bruno is doubtful. He's expected to be out. So I think that Collins, we already know, is going to start at center. He'll get a lot of center minutes. So I think that as long as he stays out of foul trouble, he should be on the higher end of his minutes, which gives him the upside we're looking for. Trae Young, I'm fine with too. It might be harder to reach him unless you see a lot of value you like, but definitely one of my top studs. If I had to get up, if I was able to reach him, I would have more. Right now, I don't have as much as I'd like, but that's just because the teams weren't looking great with him because of the value around it. Or I guess really it's the strength of the mid tier. The guys I couldn't play is more so what it was about. Not a ton else I like from Atlanta. Really mainly those. So you can always take chances with the Cam Reddishes and the Andre Hunters. Like that's probably the path to getting Trae Young, is to be more aggressive with those guys. Even Jeff Teague has played in the 20s, and he has played terribly, but he's played alongside Trae Young at times. But Trae Young and Collins are the main ones. On the Toronto side, Fred VanVleet is like not coming off the court. Dude is playing like 40 minutes. It's crazy. 39 is like probably a low end projection. Within reach for sure on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I like the fact that I think he's going to be lower owned, but I am a little concerned about the ceiling. He consistently hits that 40-something range, which is great. But now at 8-2 on DraftKings, you need him to do a little bit better than that. He certainly can, especially in a matchup like this. And again, I do respect the minutes he's been playing. I mean, let's see. VanVleet has played 40, 39, 42 minutes over his last 3 games. But the game score is 43, 33, 40. He's gone for 50. He went for 56 against Brooklyn. You could argue this is a more comparable matchup. So if you want to argue that his minutes should be a little higher, like I don't necessarily disagree. Let's see where he's at. If we have him at a hard, we got him at 38.5. So we don't even have him at a full 39. So I'll give him the full 39. That'll help him on FanDuel a lot. On DraftKings, it's still not going to help him a ton, but again, it's the difference of maybe us getting at least a little bit of exposure to him. So we'll see how that looks. Siakam, another similar to Collins, like the FanDuel price a lot more attractive. He's got massive upside and ceiling. Ownership should be low because of how much everybody's playing of the Milwaukee dudes. They're gonna and Ilyasova, everything. It's gonna all take away ownership from some of these other players. And on FanDuel, while it's a little bit different because of the positions, there's a lot of players that are underpriced, so that they make it more competitive in that aspect. Kyle Lowry, I have a lot of interest in, especially on DraftKings at 7,200, part of that mid-tier point guard thing. His price has just come down. He's 7,200. He played 37 minutes in the last game. We have him at 36. Paced up spot against Atlanta, soft matchup. I like Kyle Lowry quite a bit. Him and VanVleet are probably my 2 favorites, and again, I'm good with Siakam. Marc Gasol has been playing. He's been winning the minutes battle lately, and this is a really good matchup for center, so I think it's fine. I'm just curious how Collins plays into this, because Collins is a big, but he's a different type of big than Gasol, if that makes sense. We'll see, but I'm okay with him. But it's really Lowry is my favorite, and then VanVleet would be after that. On FanDuel, I like VanVleet more than Lowry, but on DraftKings, you're talking about $1,000 price difference. It's wild. Let's go to the next one. Interesting. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is the 3rd highest total on the slate. I ain't skipped no games, right? No, I didn't skip nothing. All right. So we've got a 232.5 total, down from 233. The Pelicans are now 9-point favorites, up from 7. So New Orleans has had a day off Cleveland, meanwhile, is on the back end of a back-to-back. They're completing a stretch of 4 games in 6 nights. Not a good spot for Cleveland. And the Pelicans have been playing extremely well. Zion, hands down, is my favorite play. I am concerned. I honestly believe New Orleans is going to beat the shit out of Cleveland. I believe that. So I'm a little reluctant on some of these other guys because their prices have gotten up. Drew Holiday has a great matchup. On FanDuel, I'm good with it. On DraftKings at 7-9, I'm a little afraid. That's an expensive price tag. Brandon Ingram has taken a big hit since Zion has debuted. His usage is lower. The minutes aren't as high. So it's going to take some time as his price falls for the projection to adjust. So I lowered his minutes a little bit. I know he's been playing 34, 35. I lowered it to 33 to kind of reflect that. I think we have a lot of other stronger options. I do think the ownership on him now may be lower because of all the other options that seem stronger, but I'm just not interested with Zion there. Lonzo Ball I'm okay with, but again, the price has gotten up. His minutes look good. I think Favors and Williamson are the ones I'm most likely to roster. Williamson I like a lot. I'll have a lot of Williamson. He played 27 minutes in the last game. Looked good. This is a great matchup. I think the goal would be to get him up to 30 if he went up to 27. And what I like about Zion is even if the game is ugly, I think they'll still do it because they're still in like Zion rehab mode. It's not just about, we don't need him to play because the blowout. You need him to get time in the court. So I think he could be someone that plays his 28 to 30 regardless. And he's obviously very good and has a high pumper minute ceiling. So I like him on both sides. But even though this game's got a crazy high total, it's just, like I said, I am genuinely concerned, and the pricing is kind of elevated. But Derek Favors and Zion I'm good with. I don't mind if you want to take shots on J.J. Redick or Hart. I don't know how much of them I get. I'm more likely to get Hart, it looks like, some, but it's mainly Zion. On the Cleveland side, there's really not much I like. We got Darius Garland out, so I think that opens up potential for Dante Exum, who's extremely cheap. If you're looking for a value option, it's worth a shot. His usage has been terrible, but there was a time when he played for Utah where he did show upside. Seems like that was a long time ago. But again, there's minutes that have to be filled, so I think him, obviously Colin Sexton's going to play a ton. Seti Osman should get some run. Kevin Porter's been limited. It's a back-to-back. He just got back from injury. We'll see. Maybe Alfonso McKinney plays more. It's just nothing exciting. So I'm not even that thrilled about Thompson just because we've seen them. Like yesterday, I was into Thompson more. We talked about it because I felt like they needed him more because Andre Drummond was on the other side. You got Zion in Favors, but I don't know. Lately, before that game against Detroit, they preferred to play Nance. So I'm just not into a ton here. I think Kevin Love, assuming at this point that he's going to play, I wouldn't mind. But again, it's a really tough spot in the schedule, and so I'm not crazy about the Cleveland side at the moment. Let's see. Flowing through these games today. Let's go to Boston, Miami. Honestly, what it is there's just like what I like today is pretty concentrated. So I think that's why we're going through these a little more quick. And I don't want to bore you guys to death, truth be told. I don't want to do that. I'll stop and take a quick chat break, see if anybody's popping off in the chat. Buddy Hield. Yeah. Buddy Hield was a solid play. Shout out to Kyle Bogart. Yeah, we talked about that, the usage being high for him and Fox. Fox was on his way to busting, obviously, but the overtime bailed him out. That, if y'all remember, that was my only bet of the day was the I'm sorry, I keep doing that. The Kings covering. I thought I was done. They were just getting destroyed the whole game. And then at the end, I was almost annoyed when Fox, I didn't know what to root for because for DFS purposes, I had a lot of Fox and I had some Hield. So when that game went to overtime, I was like, that's great. But on the other hand, I had the Kings +4. So I was just like, shit, and the game could have ended by 2 and I would have been over. But we did talk about it. Oh, and a quick question from Paul Holderman. Is the information on your site that we are looking available to us? So, Paul, the actual sheet itself is not. I made this for this show specifically. The numbers, though, the projections you see, yes, those are available for download over at WiseTake.com. They don't look like this when you go there. It's a table. You can use them to sort and see who the highest projected players are, but the main purpose of the projections are to be downloaded, uploaded into an optimizer, whatever you use, and have our projections as the brains of the optimizer. So that's what it is. So the projections are available at WiseTake.com with a day pass or membership, whatever, but it doesn't look like this is my point, to be clear. With that said, guys, going to resume here and talk about Boston. If you could hit that like button, only got 5 likes at this moment. That's just unacceptable. Unacceptable, guys. You could do better. I know for a fact you can do better than that. With that said, next game, Boston at Miami. We've got a 219 total, up from 217.5. The Celtics are 1-point underdogs on the road. They opened up as 2-point underdogs, now 1-point underdogs. We know on the Celtics side we are missing, or we're expecting to be without Jason Tatum again. We know Enes Kanter is out. And we've seen this story go on. The prices are like kind of creeping up and whatnot, but they're still, I think, within reach. Miami's been playing real slow, like the slowest recently. They've been really slow, but this game should have like a playoff type atmosphere. Two of the better teams in the East. So I'm interested, even though the pace may not be great. And I think it's a good sign that the total is on its way up. Like 217.5 for as slow as Miami's been playing isn't actually that bad at this point. Daniel Theis, however you want to say it, I think is in play. It's about on FanDuel 5-2 and on DraftKings at 5-7. I think he's in play. I mean, he's been playing 30 minutes to 31. They're going to need him on the court, you would think, with Bam on the other side. Not the strongest play by any means, but I think he's an option. And again, on DraftKings, he's center only. Center, in my opinion, is not that deep. So I don't think it's out of this world to get some. Gordon Hayward, I am interested in. He's at a tough position because we've got competition around that area, especially on DraftKings. It gets tough to fit him in between Ilyasova and these other guys. On FanDuel, it should be really easy to play him, and the price is ridiculous. You can see the Boston guys pop hard on FanDuel. Not Kemba as much, but Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown really on both sides, I guess. But Hayward for sure on FanDuel looks strong. But I do like Hayward. He's played 37 and 38 minutes over his last two games. He's getting some time when they go smaller. He's kind of playing the 5 a little bit. He's involved more. When Tatum's there, he's a big usage player. Tatum plays the 4 a ton, and also Hayward very rarely gets over like 32 minutes when Tatum's around. When Tatum's out, that's when they really start to unleash Hayward. So I like the Boston guys, man. We're missing some people. The prices are in that mid range. They're reachable. I think Kemba Walker is an outstanding play on DraftKings, just relative to the position and price. I like him on FanDuel too. He just projects better because his price is a little bit better, and obviously the 3-point thing helps on DraftKings. But I like Kemba. Kemba and Hayward, my two favorites. Jaylen Brown, really close third, and I'm then Theis, then Marcus Smart. I don't want to ignore Smart. You know, he's at a weird price point, but I don't want to ignore him because he is playing big minutes. And again, this is going to be that playoff type atmosphere type game. But so Boston is a team that I think you do need to make sure you get some exposure to, even though the total is not great. We've got some injury situations we got to take advantage of. On the Miami side, we're waiting for a lot of news. So all these are inconsistent. These minutes, everything you see here. So Bam Adebayo is in a phenomenal spot, and his price has actually come down. It is a back-to-back for Miami, but I don't believe it's like a 4 and 6 or any of that. No, it's just a back-to-back. So you expect Bam to play a lot. I'm kind of under the assumption that Nunn's going to sit. He's got an Achilles injury. That's not typically something you want to mess with because if that goes wrong, that goes really wrong, and he's young. So it's a back-to-back. If he couldn't play yesterday, I kind of think maybe he won't play today. If he plays today, it's going to mess things up for me on this side. I think Kendrick Nunn's interesting on FanDuel at that point, but it is going to mess things up for me. I'm not going to be as interested. It'll probably just be Bam at that point. But if he's out, Butler becomes a really strong play. I would like Butler a lot on DraftKings. I can tell you that. I liked him a lot yesterday. I had a lot of him yesterday by the time it was all said and done. And unfortunately, the game blew out. He just wasn't required to do as much, but he was playing well when he was playing. So I'll be more interested in Bam. I'll be a lot more interested in Jimmy Butler. I think Dragic will come into the equation because of his price. And, you know, Kelly Olynyk, kind of an interesting value play if you wanted to go there. But again, you can see that everybody's minutes is kind of low because we're waiting for the news to come out on Nunn. But if Nunn's out, you expect to see at least some Miami players coming out in your builds if you're using the projections. Again, that we won't know until we get that news, so that won't be updated until we get the news. But like I said, the reason I was like, in the meantime, I probably should raise Bam because in the meantime, I am gonna like Bam regardless. But my interest in Butler and all these other guys, not that I don't mind Butler, I'm fine with Butler, but I do think he's a much stronger play. I mean, he is a much stronger play when he's playing point guard, right? But for now, we could probably give him, say, we'll give him like 33.5 and give Bam like 33.5. That'll help out a little bit, give you an idea. So if we gave Butler 33.5 and he immediately went up to 5.2, so you can see that like if we gave him any more elevation, he would really start to pop and you'd get a lot. So that's how close he is. He's really on the fringe. We're waiting for Bam to update just so you guys can see. I gave him 33.5 also. 40.2. So still a ways away for Bam. But again, if none was out, I'd be willing to raise that a couple more minutes. So we'll have to see what happens when we get that news. Gotta love the NBA. Never know what to do until lock. That's how they do it. But they're trying, right? They're trying to get better. We got some time. Hopefully we get that news. It's only 5:36. Dropping sevens. Let's see. The hell? Oh, here we go. All right, next game. Denver Nuggets and the Memphis Grizzlies. This is a game that I'm really not getting a ton of right now. I thought I would. I mean, maybe I would have had more had we not had some of the injury stuff pop up on the other teams. But Denver is going to get paced up pretty good here. I think Will Barton is a strong play. Barton and Jokic are my favorites. Again, Jokic similar to Trae Young. Jokic's been playing. He's been on a tear. Similar to Trae Young, though, we don't have like a whole ton of value. Like in the 4K-ish range, that's solid. So I think Jokic's ownership is going to be low despite the fact that he's been smashing. Joval is a big guy down low, but he's not a great perimeter defender. So if Jokic is willing to play that and exploit that, he could force himself into a good matchup. And when Joval's not on the court, Memphis is not good against bigs at all. Will Barton, we know we expect him to handle the ball. We know Jamal Murray and Paul Millsap are still out. Monta Morris is kind of interesting on FanDuel where he's cheaper. On DraftKings at 5.4, it's kind of a risk. This is a really good spot for point guards, but usually really aggressive point guards, which is kind of why I like Barton. But Barton and Jokic are the main. I'm okay with taking a shot on Michael Porter Jr. He's only played 24 minutes in each of his last two games. He has massive upside, but it's really FanDuel where I would feel more comfortable at 5,300 just because of all the plays we have. But his ownership's going to be crazy low on both sides, but on DraftKings especially because of that price. Jeremy Grant has played really well lately, but now his price kind of reflects that. So to me, he's priced out a little bit. Not that interested. It's really just Barton and Jokic. And even Jokic having a hard time quite, getting there, despite the fact that Memphis is a fast-paced team. We'll see if value opens up. It'll be easier to get him in. As far as Memphis goes, Ja Morant was the main one that stood out to me here. He's got a low floor, but he's got a high ceiling, and he's relatively cheap for his actual upside. Dylan Brooks has played well. Jay Crowder is out. I'm not sure how that's going to slice up. They did call up, what's his name? Josh Jackson, who I'm missing from the sheet. I'll make an adjustment there, probably because he hasn't played in the NBA yet. So I'll take a look at that. But I don't know how much Josh Jackson may play. He's been playing really well in the G League. But again, he was in the G League. They're missing Crowder, but I think they already were. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like, I don't want to overreact and assume he's going to get time, and I don't know how much time he would get. So it makes me. All it does is kind of make me nervous on guys like Kyle Anderson, who I didn't really like anyway. It's really Joval I'm interested in. Centers has smashed Denver ever since Millsap went down, so I like Joval. I'm okay with Clark. I'm okay with Jaren Jackson, but it's Joval and Ja Morant, followed by Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks' projection doesn't look great, but he's just been playing differently. He's been playing a lot better. It's just hard to project him for 33, 34 minutes because it's just, Memphis is like that. They have their minutes are just weird, the way they play everybody, the rotations. A little harder to project. But, yeah, right now I don't have as much of this game as I thought I was going to have last night. Things just work out that way. You know what I mean? But I do like Barton. We get some news here. It looks like it's just news for tomorrow. Nothing significant for us. Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon new. Derrick Rose giving me all the news for tomorrow. All of it. All right. Let's keep it rolling. What do we got next? Okay, here we go. Now we got only 2 games left, so we're going good. I wanted to save some time for this one. We've got the Washington Wizards visiting the Milwaukee Bucks. Highest total on the board by far. 241. Total actually went up 1 point when Giannis got ruled out. The spread did lower quite a bit. the Bucks are still 11.5-point favorites, but they were 16-point favorites with Giannis in the game. So this was pretty big with Giannis being out. It really made me zero in on this. I was real nervous about the blowout, and I'm still a little nervous about it. Milwaukee's still a better team, but I feel more comfortable about it, and I feel like now if the game blows out, guys really had to get there. I'm not banking on a blowout. I'm obviously playing for it to be a good game and whatnot. So let's get into it. So Washington, we know that Jordan McRae is out. That's going to open up more shots in the second unit. So Troy Brown and Davis Bertans are the guys that I think benefit from that situation. Also, Ish Smith, who we have a fairly conservative minute projection for. He's been playing more minutes than Isaiah Thomas, who I think is also okay. With McRae out, you would think that the guards, maybe even Gary Payton, some of these guys are going to have to play a little bit. I prefer to stick with Brown and Bertans and just kind of assume that they pick up the slack. But to me, Bradley Beal is like the best play on the slate. I love Bradley Beal today. He's gone for 50 DraftKings points or more of his last 3 games. Price is still low over there. I like him on FanDuel too, just because I genuinely like him. On DraftKings, the price makes it like I'm gonna have a ton of Bradley Beal today. So if Bradley Beal has a bad day, I will be in a pissed off mood and I'll be tweeting some bullshit on Twitter. I'll try to filter myself because it's a sensitive time right now, being the recent tragedies, but I will be very upset if Bradley Beal does not do well today. Considering, and like we have him fairly conservative. Like on the reason I like him on FanDuel is because my realistic expectation is that he plays 38 minutes today. Because, well, as long as the game stays close enough, I think he plays around 38. And that would be enough to make him pop on FanDuel because his raw points would be through the roof at that point. He's significantly cheaper on DraftKings. We're talking about $500. So yeah, it's just interesting. This is a team in general that's interesting. Troy Brown, like I mentioned, an interesting value option. I would think he's going to get more shots without McRae. Bertans also, he played 30 minutes in the last game. I think there's room for him. You could see I got him for 31 just to make sure he didn't go unnoticed. And on DraftKings, especially because of the 3-point bonuses. But the price is low. I mean, this is a dude that before he got hurt, he was one of the guys that were relying on the score. Now I know McRae. He may go to that role. So I do like Davis Bertans quite a bit. And I like Troy Brown. He projects well. That's all there is to it. But Bradley Beal, my favorite play on a slate. Oh, here we go. We got 9 likes now. Now we're talking, guys and gals. I appreciate you guys trying. I mean, I'd like to see it improve a little bit. There's, a lot more watching than the ones that have liked the video. But hey, I'll start with it. I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm appreciative. Let's go to the other side. So now we get into Chalk City, and Bradley Beal is one of the guys that I mentioned. Like I'm expecting Bradley Beal to be crazy chalk, at least on DraftKings. I don't give a damn. I'm playing Bradley Beal a ton anyway, but like he's somebody that like I'm expecting to be really popular. And I've checked ownership projections across a few different sources, and none of them really have him as high as I think he'll be. But to be honest, they don't really have anybody as high as I think they're going to be, including Ersan Ilyasova, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe. So Ilyasova, I'm expecting to be like 90% on today, and he should be, and I'm playing him a shit ton. Gotta be kidding me. He ain't on this list either. I'm missing players on this thing. Damn. Oh, did I never? Hold up. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me do some things here. Give me 1 second for a minute. I think I know what I got to do. Hold on 1 second. I just got to do a quick update. Because I just noticed I'm missing some players that don't want to be missing. What is that here? They're only missing in this sheet. That's weird. Very strange. What was that? 348. Oh, yep, I had him cut off. That was my bad. My bad, guys. So did I do that same thing for the other ones too? $349. Yep. Alright. So he should have popped in by now. Oh, he's popping in now. There he is. Okay. Now we're good. There he is. Okay. Now we're getting there. Yeah, it was just he was literally the only player we were missing because I cut off the thing too short. That was my bad. So this should be 8. This should be boom. All right, there you go. So yeah, he was missing. He is back up there. Ersan Ilyasova, probably the top player on the slate on both sides. He's shown massive upside whenever he started, or assuming he's starting. He has whenever Giannis is missed and he's been available. So super cheap, 3-3 on DraftKings, 3-7 on FanDuel. It's just too cheap. We got him projected for 24 minutes, which could be conservative. I mean, these guys baby their players, but still projecting to be the top player on the slate. I'll have a whole lot. He'll be the guy I have the most of. Probably have 100%. Eric Bledsoe, we had to get aggressive with his minutes to reflect the usage. Him and Middleton, say what you will, they get babied by their coach. The minutes are hard to project. With Giannis off the court last year, this year, it doesn't matter. The usage and the point per minute average of Bledsoe and Middleton goes up so dramatic. It's so high without Giannis on the court. Fast-paced matchup against Washington, who does not play defense. It's like Kevin Porter Jr. a game-time decision. So Cleveland could end up being really short. We may have to revisit that. They could end up really short. I'm curious to see if anyone else. Looks like, Dante Exum will start for Darius Garland. So again, we talked about him being a value play at 3,200. Some will analyze, despite the fact that he hasn't shown very good usage. It is cheap, and I think we have to acknowledge that. Probably in for big minutes today, especially if they're going to be a little thinner anyway. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson just got ruled out as well for Toronto. So maybe some impact on some of the backup forwards. I don't think anything significant, but again, we'll look into it. So we'll adjust Exum's projection while we're on the next show. We got Paulie on. So yeah, I mean, Ersan, Bledsoe, Middleton. If I had to rank them, Ersan number 1, Middleton number 2. Bledsoe's the one that they baby the most with the minutes. Middleton did play 34 minutes in their last game, so I know that at least they will. Bledsoe, it seems rare that they'll play him more than 30, 31. But phenomenal matchup. He's going to see IT2 for some of this. He's going to see some Ish. It's just a phenomenal matchup for him. And I don't mind George Hill and DiVincenzo if you wanted to get a little crazy or different, but to me, it's those 3 first, and then the next guy I'm going to is Brook Lopez, especially on a slate where center's not that strong. Washington is terrible against centers. The minutes haven't been as high for Lopez as you'd like, but with Giannis out, that could change. They could decide to play him a little bit more. We'll see. Robin Lopez is obviously, I believe he's back, so that could change things up. But this is you're going to have I'm going to end up with a lot of this game by default and I'm fine with that because of Bledsoe, Middleton, Ersan, a little bit of Brolo, and then Beal so strong on the other side. So not to mention Troy Brown exposure, Davis Bertans. So I'm going to have a good amount of this game in general. This team specifically, the opposing team as well. Let's take a look at Exum. I'm going to go back to this Exum. We have some time. So I want to go back to this Exum situation. Let's see. So if Kevin Porter Jr. is out, that'd be a positive for Nance, I think, because they could play him at some 4, even though he's mostly been playing a backup 5. I think that's good for him. And Cedi Osman's minutes could be a little more solidified, but they do have guys like Alfonso McKinney and some of these dudes they can play. But if you look at the guard situation, they don't, they got Dellavedova, who they don't like to play a lot. They've got Alfonso McKinney, who's not really a true guard. And so it's really, you would think that Exum's going to get a lot of time. And he would be with Brandon Knight out, he would be my guess to play point guard when Sexton's not in the game. So either Sexton's just going to play the whole game, or they're going to have to play Exum a little more. They traded for him, so I would assume that there's something they wanted to see. Kevin Love will play, so he's not going to sit. That's good to know. So I was conservative with his minutes because I wanted to see. Hold on. Let's pull them up. I was conservative because I wasn't sure if that's what they were going to do, if they were going to start him. But knowing that they are, I would think minutes-wise he's going to play. It could get you a different build, I guess, but he's just been bad. Like, let me go over what Exum has done. Exum played 16 minutes against Detroit, went for 17. That was one of his better games since coming here to Cleveland. Against Chicago, he played 22 and went for 14. His usage rates in these games were 12.8 and 9.7. Against Washington, he played 15 minutes, went for 8.6. Against the Knicks, he played 25 minutes, went for... No, I'm sorry. He went for 9. His usage rate was 8.6. Against the Knicks, he played 25 minutes. His usage rate was 5. Went for 7.75. This guy has just a crazy low floor. So I'm like almost afraid to project him for too many minutes because I don't want it to give me like a ton of him. Sure, having some to get a different build is interesting, but I don't want it to be giving me, a shit ton of this dude because the usage has been pathetic. And it's not like he's got, like, we saw, what was it, against Minnesota? I think he was still playing for the Jazz at that point. But there was a game where he got 24 minutes against Minnesota, had like a 30% usage rate, which is on fire. So it's a possibility. I'm going to want some because he's just real cheap. And I mentioned that it's hard to get some of those studs. He could help you get some of those studs for sure. Extremely cheap. So it's something we have to consider. But I do think that knowing now that he's starting, knowing that if this game does go to garbage time, he's a candidate to most likely play in garbage time. Something that we have to consider. So let's see. I think we got him for 24 and change right now. Not even. I got him for all right. So say we put him at oh, what the hell? No, that was right. Was it right? Yeah, 24 and a half. All right, let's see what happens. That already happened? Oh, it did already. Right? Now he's up to... Now we're getting up there. 5.74x. I don't know that changed the whole time, right? Yeah, 5.74x on DraftKings. So let's do a full 25 and see what that looks like. See what it looks like. Yes. Down to Exum 3100 without Garland. What up, Daniel? And yes, Kevin Love is playing. Yes, we did get that confirmation. He will play in the back end of a back-to-back. Let's do it. There we go with them likes. Now I'm starting to see 19 likes. Now we're talking, guys. I appreciate it. Keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. I think there's still some room in there. Some like buttons that could be smashed. Much appreciated. Okay, there we go. So now I'm on the 25 minutes clean, 5.85. So he's gonna be a guy, man. I can't be biased, right? I think he's gonna play minutes. Especially if Knight gets ruled out. So, I mean, who are they going to play at the guard position? I think they have to. They brought him in for a reason. It's just scary because of how shitty he's been. But there's a scenario. I had mentioned that I think New Orleans is going to beat him up. So there is also a scenario where New Orleans does. And, he just gets garbage time all by himself and is able to just go out there and just do work. So we raised his minutes up to 26. Yeah, I gave him a full 26, and now you can see he's up to 6x on DraftKings. On FanDuel, you still wouldn't be getting a lot, although I really don't think you need him. I think that's better off. I don't think you need him over there. You only get 2 point guards. Exum is point guard and shooting guard eligible. So you can put him at point guard, shooting guard, utility. You have flexibility. On FanDuel, to play a guy like that over some of the players with massive upside, I would be worried about. So I think this actually works out better anyway. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the first half of the show. We're going to take a little 5-minute break here. I'll play some background music. Hopefully it works. Just going to switch to a still screen while we set up for the next half of the show. We'll bring on Paulie, talk about the slate. We do have the PGA stream later on tonight around 9:30 or so, I believe, with Brumedic and Shockey, aka Clint Portrikis. So make sure you, if you're playing the PGA thing, go give it a shot later. But in the meantime, we'll be right back. Just going to switch over, set up, bring Paulie on. We'll answer some questions if there's time. Get Paulie's thoughts on the slate, find out who his favorite studs are, mid-tier, value, go over some optimal builds, all that kind of stuff. So, again, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Hang tight, and we'll do the dirty.
What we do here is go back.
And we are back, nation. Thank you for hanging tight with us. When grab this dude. You guys know him as Paulie D, the GOAT of the WiseTake Nation. Paulie, what's happening?
What's happening, baby? What it do?
What it do? I don't know what's up with your audio. It was just fine all of a sudden. Say something.
Say something else.
Okay.
Say something to a PM.
Say something to a PM.
All right, yeah.
Paulie, go over your talk to us about your overall thoughts on this one. It's a wild one.
My thoughts are that I will be doing thy dirty to myself before thy neighbor does thy dirty to me. No, but it's a good slate. You know, I was kind of happy about Giannis getting ruled out because I liked that game, but I was like, how's it going to stay close? Now you got Big D ruled out, and now we got a close game. What's that spread go to?
What's that?
It's still 11, you know, and I don't see most of the industry on the Washington side. But with Brad Beal doing his thing again, like, they keep games close all season. They've been doing it. And without Giannis, I don't think Milwaukee's an 11-point favorite over Washington. On top of that, Washington lost McRae, you know, so, like, one less guard to kind of, like, mess with, big usage guard. So some of those other guys are nice value. That's my favorite game. That's what I want to get a lot of exposure to. Obviously, we want exposure to Milwaukee. Then there's a couple other spots, right? Like, I think, you know, New Orleans, Cleveland, you're going to want a piece of. That game should have very little D, very fast pace. Phoenix, Dallas has a big total, 6 points. I could see that being close. We got big time scores on both those teams. Denver, missing some of their key defensive players, have not been playing very good D, have been playing faster against Memphis, who plays hyper fast. And then Atlanta, Toronto, outside of this Washington-Milwaukee game, just very, very close. Second place, second best game on the board. Another big spread there too. With Giannis out, I just find Washington, Milwaukee more likely to stay close. But those are the premier games of the day. And, it seems like the slate is gearing up to be kind of like a balanced build with maybe like one or two value pieces. But it doesn't look like the studs are going to get a ton of ownership. I do think Trae Young gets a bunch. But other than that, I think it's going to be like a whole like 5 or 6, like 6 to 8K guys with like, Ersan Ilyasova, some value pieces like that. But I like some studs. I like some of the mid tier. I think there's interesting pivots off some of the real heavy chalk. We're gonna do what we do, but there's a lot of shit that go down. It's a huge slate, really. Thank God they canceled that Lakers game, and we'll go through what we like.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It does look like we got news that Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Patrick McCaw are both out. So I would think that's going to open up minutes for like OG and Anunoby more, right? Maybe some Powell action. Those guys should play a little bit more.
I do like Norm Powell.
Yeah, Powell action. I'm with it. We did hear news about Embiid. He's going to play. We're not sure how much he's planning on playing, but we know he's supposed to play. Looks like Jason Tatum and Javonte Green are both ruled out for Boston. Nothing out of the ordinary with Tatum. Green I didn't really know about. Yeah, it's so I guess like we Washington, I agree with you. That's my favorite game also. Let's start with that game, and why don't you tell me your general approach as far as the actual players from those games you're the highest on, and then tell me some of the guys you're going to try to work in for game stack purposes, etc. Because I'm with you. That's my favorite game too, and we know it's going to be everybody's favorite game. It's got the highest total by far, 2 fast-paced teams. But talk to me about where you think, like the ownership on the Bucks side, we know is going to be like crazy high. What about the ownership on the Wizards side? Where do you think that's going to come in at?
I mean, looking around, it's very, very low. Let's see who the most popular projected Wizard is. I mean, I'm guessing it's Beal, but yeah, Brad Beal, I'm seeing her like around 10%. Like, he's my favorite play on the slate. I think he's yours as well. Very rarely do we have the exact same favorite play on the slate, especially like a rando like that. So that makes me, excited to play him. Then like the rest of the pieces, like you can see a path to a lot of these Wizards doing well. Like if this game stays close, there's going to be good contributions from multiple guys. Like Troy Brown's projecting really well, going to see a big boost on that second unit without Jordan McRae. Ish Smith, same thing. Davis Bertans, their 3-point stud, 5'3", against Milwaukee, who invites the threes, who's, getting minutes again after getting work back in from the injury, taking double-digit shots, double-digit threes at 5'3", like he could go off. Thomas Bryant was a beast earlier in the year before he got hurt. He's now played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. The most he's gotten to was 22 in a close game against Detroit. So I think we can expect at least that and maybe more at 4-1. There's a lot of upside there, especially without Giannis. The rebounds should be flowing. Gary Payton may get some additional minutes with no Jordan McRae, but Bertans, Ish Smith, Thomas Bryant, and IT2 at 4K, all guys that if the Wizards keep it close, like I think they all kind of have contributions, and throw Troy Brown in that mix. But Brad Beal, the obvious one in my opinion, and the guy I'm going to have the most of. And like, the Milwaukee side, like Ilyasova's my favorite, right? He's just way too cheap in such a phenomenal spot. We've seen him just do dirties in this spot other times this year. Then it's Middleton. He's just super consistent in this role, but Bledsoe, I could see DiVincenzo doing better than him point per dollar. Brook Lopez doesn't really get me that excited. Wes Matthews, Isman, Price, he could do well. Like, everybody's in play that you see getting minutes, but it's Ilyasova and Middleton as like the top tier guys I want the most of. And then it's like a tier below with Bledsoe and DiVincenzo, and then another tier below with like Lopez, George Hill, and maybe like Pat Connaughton and Wes Matthews.
So I know before we had talked a little bit earlier in the day, and I know that like we were both talking about how low owned some of these studs are going to be because even though you have the illy value, there's not a lot of other value that's like as solid as that. And then the mid tier is really strong now because of all the injuries we have. We have Boston, some of these other teams. Where are you at with these studs? Have you found players you're going to try to get the 50 studs in, or are you like, no, fuck it. Now we just got to go mid tier strong with it, long LD style. You know what I'm saying? What do you think?
Long and strong. No, I mean, I want some of these studs because I think they're going to be low owned. Like, I really think this could be a breakout spot for Luka. Do we know Ricky Rubio's status?
He's probable.
Probable.
Yeah.
So, like, he's one of the worst defenders at point guard ever. If he's there, like, I could see Luka just doing dirties to him all night long. And I think he's going to be like 5% owned. And that's just criminal for Luka, who can go for 75 and is probably due for a 75 burger. Be nice to see Porzingis get ruled out. That would just kind of strengthen that. Trae Young has gone for 70 plus in 2 of his last 3. His price really still hasn't come high enough. And Toronto does play extremely fast. They have the most transition points in the league right now. And like Atlanta can get playing transition all day. So like if that game stays close, Trae Young is certainly going for another 60 plus burger. Jokic has the increased usage, but Michael Porter Jr. is back and he's certainly kind of thrown a wrench into what we were kind of accustomed there. Joel Embiid being back, I don't see how Golden State hangs in. And, it's kind of tough because Ben Simmons has been balling, but we all know when Embiid comes back, he kind of becomes the alpha. The next guy I'd probably be interested in is Devin Booker in that same game with Luka. I mean, how many games in a row now does he have like 30 plus points? He had 117, but, the 4 out of his last 5, he's gone for 35 plus just points. He's had a 10 assist game in there. He gets a couple rebounds, whatnot. Like, he's been fairly consistent, and Dallas is very good defensively. Like, I like him, but Brad Beal's my stud. That's the guy I want the most, and then it's Luka over Trae Young, but I'll have a little bit of both. Probably like Luka, I'm probably looking to get 25% of Trae Young, like 15 to 20, and then the other studs, like, I'm just not going to get there because the ownership's got to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on a lot of that. I agree. I'll say this. It's a rough spot for Dallas schedule-wise. They're on a back-to-back 4-6. I do expect the Suns to keep this game competitive. I'm from an ownership aspect, I'm with you on those studs. And if Porzingis is out, I'm gonna try my best to find ways to get Luka in because I do agree with you. The ownership just doesn't seem right. And like you said, guys like Devin Booker, some of these guys they're overpriced, but in tournaments they could be the pivots to make you different. They could get you on different builds. So I'm interested. Let's go talk about I know you already kind of talked about your favorite studs. I want to ask you about the mid tier. I know you like Middleton. I know you like Bledsoe, but we do have Boston, who's also relatively shorthanded with Tatum out and Cantor out. We've already gone over the studs. Talk to me about the mid-tier guys. Obviously, I know that Bledsoe and Middleton are on a tier of their own above for you. That's kind of where it starts. But talk to me about the Boston guys, some of the other mid-tier. Talk to me about Miami. If Kendrick Nunn were to get ruled out, what do you got?
Yeah. So first of all, Bledsoe's not on the same tier as Middleton for me. Like Middleton's up there. Bledsoe's like a tier below. I would really play Kemba over Middleton.
Over Bledsoe.
I love Zion Williams. What?
Over Bledsoe, you mean?
Over Bledsoe, correct. Sorry. I love Zion Williamson today. I tweeted it that I'm going to play him every slate that he's on. He's already gone for 6x value in 2 of the 3 games. And while the whole industry is like, his price is too high, I'll keep playing him at high ownership. I think his minutes are going to increase. It's a monster smash spot for him against Cleveland. And like, if they blow them out on the road, it's probably because he does his thing. I don't know if this game's televised, but it might be. I just see like these kind of blowout against scrubby team games where Zion's going to do like his highlight reels like he did at Duke when they would play shitty teams. he'd have like, all the fast-paced dunks, and this is where he's going to get his blocks and his steals. Like, I think these kind of games where he's going to have his ceilings. They also were going to let him close last game. They just won by so much they didn't need to like let him play till the end. But he checked back in at the 5-minute mark and played like another minute and a half. They pulled away and they pulled him because they didn't need it. But that was nice that it was the first time they were going to let him actually close, which, he could have actually played like 2 or 3 more minutes had that game been closer. I like Gordon Hayward at 7-1. I like Jimmy Butler. Sort of interested in Dragic if Kendrick Nunn is out. I'm interested in one of the Charlotte guards, Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, and like for another conversation, even a little bit of Malik Monk, my boy. Who else we got in the mid tier? I like Jaren Jackson Jr. a whole lot. I like Michael Porter Jr. Who that? Oh, I like guys on Toronto, right? I like Siakam. I like Fred VanVleet. I like Norm Powell quite a bit. That news of what's his name? What's his name for Toronto that's out?
R.H. Shea and McCall both.
R.H. Shea McCall just kind of like guarantees their minutes to be very tight. Who else in the mid tier? John Morant, I don't mind against Denver. Oh, you know what? This is a good way. Michael Porter, Zion, Jaren Jackson, Gordon Hayward, Joe Val, right? One of Joe Val or Jaren Jackson Jr. should do well today. Terry Rowe, Jaylen Brown from Boston. Boston, I would say it goes Kemba, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown for me. Charlotte, I prefer Terry Rowe, then Devontae Graham. Atlanta, if you want to get a cheap piece of that, you can grab Kevin Huerter. I also like John Collins and really like DeAndre Ayton as well in that upper mid tier.
I'm with it. I agree. The mid tier is loaded, man. And that's the thing. Like, as we get value, it becomes: do you use the value to get 2 more mid tier players that you like, or do you use the value to go ahead and get Luka? And I think that's going to depend on circumstances, right? Like what news unveils. If Porzingis is out, obviously we'll rush. And I'm with you on Trae Young, another guy that, even if he's the most popular stud, he's not going to be as popular as a guy should be coming off a 70-burger in 2 out of his last 3 games. Listen, I'm not finding myself like most of my shit is in a mid-tier. There's a lot of mid-tier guards. Kemba Walker, Kyle Lowry, D'Lo. There's a lot of guys. Eric Bledsoe to shuffle through that I want substantial exposures to. Even right now, I'm having a difficult time getting there. Talk to me about the value plays that you have in mind now, and the value plays you have your eye on in case they open up, so that you can get more Luka or whoever it is you decide.
And this is kind of like where the slate's going to be won, I think, right? Like, obviously, Ersan Ilyasova,
Real quick,
going to have a ton
Kendrick Nunn was just ruled out, just so you know.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, that's just going to solidify Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero for me. But other value plays that, first that should be popular, right? Dante Exum at 3-1. That doesn't do a ton for me, but, he has gone for like high 20s in the past. That'd be 9X. It'd be good. I do like Dante DiVincenzo a ton. Just great pace, good rebounding situation. And with Giannis out, there's a lot to go around. Next highest cheap guy I'm seeing is like Marc Gasol, who, is fine, but I'm not that thrilled to really ever play. Some of the chalk donkeys may flock to Delon Wright after he went off yesterday. I'm not really into that. I do like Troy Brown Jr. quite a bit. Cody Zeller makes a bunch of sense to me. Again, I like Ish Smith. All the Washington guys that are cheap, I've interested in. Another value guy that I kind of have my eye on is Marquez Chris. I don't know if he's going to start again, but we should have that lineup. That's my one concern is, like, if he's in the starting lineup, will he get blowout run if they do, in fact, get blown out? Like, I forget who their last game was against, but they kind of, like, gave him, like, starter treatment when the game was out of hand and he didn't get to come back in when he could have, like, really done dirties. So, like, I do like him at his price. Think he's just going to see big minutes now with Willie Cauley-Stein gone, and he's a high point per minute player. But, the fact that he didn't get the blowout run the last time when he should have gives me a little bit of hesitation. I think that we can look at somebody from Atlanta, whether it be DeAndre Hunter or what's the kid from Duke? Help a brother out. What's his name from Duke?
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish, right? Alex Len and the other starting center are out, so maybe Damian Jones. I mean, who's ever excited to play him? No one. Right? Brandon Clark from Memphis, I think, is interesting. Cody Zeller, I do like quite a bit, although the Knicks do guard the center position pretty well. Jeff Teague is an option, right? Like, I think if Atlanta hangs in there, he probably has a decent game off the bench, although that's just a complete shot in the dark type play. Malik Monk at 4.8, way more than I, expected his price to be. I know he did go off in that game in Paris, and there's some rumors that they are shopping him, so they might be trying to just, boost his value and give him some runs. So he's done well against the Knicks in the past. There's not a ton though, right? Like Josh Jackson getting his debut for Memphis. Maybe he gets a little bit of run. Jay Crowder is out. But like outside of Ilyasova, there's nothing that's like super strong. But there's, I could see some of these guys doing well. But mostly the Washington value is where I'm going to be living, right? Like Troy Brown, Bryant, Ish Smith, IT2. Those are probably the value plays I'll have the most of.
That makes sense. For sure.
What about you? Is there anyone I didn't mention that you got your eye on?
For value, no. Not really.
Value, yeah.
Obviously,
Okay.
Ersan is the play I'll have the most of. Even Exum, man. Like, we raised his projection a little bit. The Miami guys may work in. I'm sure OG is a guy we're going to get more of now at 4. He's like 4,100, and his minutes just got a little more solidified, so I'm sure he'll work in. But yeah, I'm on the same page. I'm still looking for that something to really sink my teeth into if I do want to go up and get those other guys. But it's tough because the mid-tier is pretty loaded. But you talked about a build, Ish Smith, Troy Brown, some of these value pieces with Beal and then the Milwaukee. You probably could afford to go ahead and grab one of those guys with them because of how cheap they are. Ish Smith, IT2, if you're looking in that area, Troy Brown. So I'm all for it. Cash games, you're starting with Milwaukee, right? Ersan, Middleton, Bledsoe. Is that where you're starting? Is Bledsoe making the cut for you in cash, or are you playing somebody else over him?
For cash games, that's probably where I would
play him
get
more.
my exposure. But the more I'm thinking about him, like, I think that there's multiple guys at the same position that are gonna do better raw and point per dollar. Like, I think I'm going to be a little underweight to the field on him and over on Middleton and DiVincenzo.
It makes sense. I mean, honestly, I'm having a hard time figuring out where underweight or overweight is, man, because I see the ownership projections, but I don't believe them. Like, I feel like these guys
be about 70, right?
If not more, right?
I'd say
wasn't Hartenstein like fucking... He's not even like
2.
Yeah, and they just announced that Ersan is starting, so we already knew that.
That was a 6-game slate yesterday, right? This is a 9er.
It's true.
So Kyle Lowry's projecting to be somewhat popular, right? He's 600 more than Bledsoe. You got Dante Exum at the same position. You've got Kemba, Trae Young. I could see Bledsoe coming in closer to 50 and Middleton in the high 60s and Ilyasova in the high 70s. That's kind of what I expect.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I mean, we've seen this in the past where Middleton was 80, Ersan was 98, and we've seen it. But you're right, this is a bigger slate. It is, and when we're getting more news as it goes on, which should spread the ownership out a tiny bit more. Make no mistake about it, Milwaukee will be will be chalky. But I hear you. Point guard in general. I can tell you right now from a DraftKings perspective, I have these guards that we like. I've got my highest exposures outside of Illy and Middleton are like all guards. I'm getting like a shit ton of him, Kemba, Lowry, it's like all my utility has got to be guards. Like it's got to be like all guards right now. The way that the teams are coming out for us. Sevens all day. Sevens all night. Nation, if you have any questions, start asking them. I'll go back and check, and we'll try to bounce them off. Keep in mind that we are still updating stuff. I'm updating the projections as we go. Also, waiting for more news to come out to keep you guys updated and all that goody McGood. On tomorrow we are bringing on Shockey. Do a little 3-man action with us, man. That should be fun.
The shock
The Shockmeister, man. He was taking shots yesterday, bro, in the YouTube chat.
That's what he does. He saw shit. The shock saw. Shock saws ready.
He was going at it, man. He was going at it. You know, it was fun. Let's see.
Bro.
Oh, here we go. We had a chat that a question in the YouTube chat. Who would you pick for your top 3 centers?
Top 3 centers?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me isolate that down. Let me put that shit up. Zion. DeAndre Ayton, Zion, and Ilyasova.
30s and 7s. Question from WiseTake Nation member CD36, bunch of numbers. Best center under 6K. So I'm assuming Illy's the given. Take Illy out of the equation. Mm-hmm. Who's the best center under 6K?
All right. Under 6. Dirtyville, under 6. I really like Thomas Bryant and Cody Zeller for like cheap skis. Tristan Thompson's got a nice price tag and a smash spot. I'll say Tristan Thompson is got the best spot. I'm into Bryant and Cody Zeller.
Yeah, I don't hate Gasol either, especially with some of the injuries to the backcourt. We could see we could see Ibaka play a little bit of 4 if need be at times, which could lead to Gasol playing big. He's like 4'9". I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It is Dirtyville down there, no doubt. Kevin Huerter, Ilyasova is starting. Yeah. Any interest in Kevin Huerter?
Yeah, definitely. Like his price. He's like a cheap way to get exposure to Atlanta without having to pay all that money for Trae Young or John Collins. It's pricey as well.
True that. True story.
That's what I'd be dropping.
What about your top 3 point guards for FanDuel? I'm going to let you dig up, and I'm going to leave you hanging on that question while I update the Memphis and Miami situation on our projections. So,
all prices?
What's up?
All prices on that question?
Yeah, I think so. Just top 3 point guards for FanDuel.
Okay. Got to give me a sec to load that, baby up. You know. 1, 2, 1, 2. What you gonna do? 7, 3, 2. What you gonna do? So give me. Ooh, that's a price and a half. Terry Rose price at 6'1" is super duper appealing. Eric Bledsoe at 5'8", and give me that gushy stuff with. They're begging you to play Ricky Rubio at 5'6", but I'll say Kemba Walker.
They've been begging you to play Rubio over there every day. He's been terrible over there, but at some point it's going to balance out. But they've been begging you to play him there every day. Every day, man. It's on an every day. It's up in here. So I guess talk to me about your favorite. I know, again, I know your favorite game stack, and mine also is the Milwaukee game. After that, give me your favorite game stacks.
Phoenix, Dallas, Toronto, Atlanta, and probably Boston, Miami.
I was just gonna ask. So where does Boston, Miami rank now that both teams have injuries and things? Any love for Julius Randle?
I mean, his price is rough, but yeah, I always play some Julius Randle. And Charlotte was like the worst DVP against power forward in the last few weeks. So another plus. He's going to be like 2%, another plus. But other than that, I honestly don't love him that much today because of his price tag. And, you know,
And
how do you play him for like Siakam?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or John Collins. But yeah, I'll play some just because it's a respect thing. I play him every slate, so I'm not going to leave him out this one. And
yeah, you definitely can't be disrespected.
He's not.
You don't want to disrespect his ass. No doubt. Shockey's just in full troll mode to you, bro. It'll be fun to have him on a show with you tomorrow. Does Paul? He wants to know if you have. He said, "Does Paulie have frosted tips in his hair?" He's just going in, bro. Just going in. I don't know. He said he thinks you gained an inch on your vertical last night. I don't know what he means by that, but he's just going.
Remember, I jumped up and hit to see if I could dunk on 8.
That's right.
I can dunk on 8.
You got this. Here's a good question. I had this question myself. What are your thoughts on Embiid, bro? Like, as far as, do you think he's getting minutes? No? You don't think he's going to play a lot? Because it's a smash spot, bro. Like, in 30 minutes, I think we could do.
They blow him out. I think they're cautious because he hasn't played in a while. And, like, all those things. He hasn't played since January 6th. That's 22 days. Like, they're cautious as fuck with this guy anyway, right? Not that interested. Marquez Chris gonna beast him. No, I mean it's a smash spot. I'm not interested.
It is a smash. I hear you. It is a smash.
I will say, like, Golden State has not been getting many shots blocked because all they do is shoot the deep ball. So like that hurts the ceiling a little bit.
Yeah, nobody doubt it. What's going on with? Why does it give me less Zion all of a sudden in my life, bro? Shit.
I don't know. So, if Kristaps were to play, would you have interest?
No, he hasn't gotten more than like 27 minutes in any of these games, so I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
Shit. He's been the king of mediocre lately.
I bet.
God damn. Cheer.
Baby.
You know, we do.
Make you feel right, make you feel right.
Sixers will start Simmons, Milton, Harris, Horford, and Bede. Get the Bede for speed.
Milton, Shake Milton getting the start.
Yeah, Shake getting the start for J Rich. Holla. Any interest there?
Yeah, but like, no. I mean, I think for Korkmaz a little interesting, just like a 3% kind of play, but no,
These chicks
not for me. I mean, I'm gonna put in 5% game stacks of that game just in case because I have like so little interest in it, so I don't want to get burned if it. Golden State can hang. They have been playing a little bit better, but overall, there's just nothing there, right? Like, I just, Philly's won. I think Philly's going to win the championship this year, to be honest. Like, I take that back. Clippers are going to win against Philly.
They'll win the East.
Yeah, Philly's going to win the East.
You have it.
There's good odds on that. You should bet on that.
On Philly to win the East?
Yeah.
On Dirties to drop the 7s?
Yeah, I mean, whoever wins the trade deadline is going to win the East, and they're always very active. And, they're just, like, in my opinion, the best team by far in the East when healthy.
Fair enough. Get my hand on the gun because they got me on the run. Classic. Let's see what else we got. Would you guys play all three, Middleton, Bledsoe, and Ilyasova, or too many Milwaukee's? Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I think you can play even 4 Milwaukee's. Just play Brad Beal too.
Yeah, agreed. If Porzingis is out, Kleber would benefit. Thoughts on Uber? I'm sorry. If Porzingis is out, would Kleber benefit? And thoughts on Oubre Jr.?
Like Oubre Jr. a lot at his price.
Low ownership, going to play big minutes. Bro, those guys are going to be crazy low own. You got Gordon Hayward. You got like all these forwards that are in that mid-range. You got Hayward. You got what's his name? Jaylen Brown. You've got Middleton. You've got all these dudes. And like Kelly Oubre is going to go like not played at all. Even though he's playing like 40 minutes a game. That's the thing about Phoenix you got to consider. They're playing big minutes. And on schedule side, like I believe Dallas is significantly better than those guys. But it is a tough part in the schedule for Dallas. Like they do have a schedule advantage here. So the Suns being so I do actually like the matchup for the Suns. You know, I think they hang. If I was betting,
I do too.
I would bet give me the points, son. If I'm going that way. Give me the points though. Points though.
Give me that.
How about the Kings coming through in the clutch for me last night? That was dope, man. I thought I was done, bro. I was like, I am done. And on the show, I kept on trying to tell everybody I'm betting the Kings, and every time I would go to say it, I kept fucking it up and saying Minnesota, and I corrected myself. It was this whole big thing, and at the end of the day, the dirty was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it ruined my night for sure because all those Wiggins teams like ran away from me.
It hurt me in fantasy, no doubt. It hurt me in fantasy. But you know what? I was already fucked with Hartenstein, so I was just happy to get something out of it. But yeah, you know, I feel you though. It did like fantasy wise. It was I had a lot of Fox and Hill. They were just in the teams that and even Wiggins. I just had him in teams that I didn't have my other. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know.
By the way, shout out to myself on Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon, bro. Everybody was nervous, and I told the nation
50 burger, 50 raw. What?
I did. I told the nation I had to talk to you first. I was like, bro. Obviously on FanDuel that was a no-brainer, of course, but. I told him, I was like, man, I got to talk to Paulie on this one, bro, because, like, I don't know. I know his ownership's going to be low, and it was. It was real low. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, 13%. I was like, yes, let's go.
And last night was no Eric Gordon, no money status, bro. That was just like, you know how we do.
Get this money.
In a close game, Dragic's got to play, like, 28 to 30 minutes, right? Like, because I'm looking, he got 26 against Orlando, but that was obviously a blowout. But Washington, he got 30. Sacramento got 32, right? Like, holla.
Yep. Two things. 23 minutes to lock. Just throwing that out there. And then second, can you look and see how much Derrick Jones Jr. played yesterday?
Yeah.
And do you think they just, spy him on Kemba like they do with a lot of stud scorers? And maybe we should be looking more at Gordon Hayward because of that?
It's possible. I mean, Derrick Jones Jr. played 22 minutes against Orlando. Again, that game kind of blew out. Before that, 20, and then it was 29-28 in competitive games against the Clippers. I don't know what the deal was. I guess he just didn't work out because that was a close game. But for the most part, he's been playing. Again, Orlando, it's hard to gauge. That game was kind of a blowout. And then at the end, it got a little close, but it was really a blowout. You know what I mean? Like, it was like...
And they don't have no one, for him to spy on, but he guards the team's best player. Like that's what they do with.
That's what he does. Bro.
You know, so that could be Kemba.
It could. It definitely could. I mean, you figure who do you think Butler covers? Brown, Butler and Brown.
Yeah, Brown or Hayward. Depending because they have what's his name on the court? Duncan Robinson.
Yes.
Not a very good defender.
Doofy Duncan. That's what I have to call that guy.
Doofy Duncan, but he can hit those trip sets.
He can shoot. Trip set, dip set all day. All day. All right, finally got the projections updated, and which means that there's gonna be news coming out in a couple seconds. I could feel it because as soon as I update them shits, that happens every time. So you know it's happening. You know it's coming. Joel Embiid will start. Oh, Devontae Graham just got ruled out. That's huge.
League Monk, holla. More than that though.
Oh, that's huge.
Bacon.
Terry Rozier, right? Like Rozier should play a shit ton of point guard today.
Terry Rowe was gonna play a shit ton already. I'm playing the fuck out of Malik Monk now at 4,800.
48, 838. That's huge, man. Big minutes out of the equation. Everything is everything.
Dude, Dwayne Bacon's min price. I mean,
wow.
What?
Didn't I tell you though? Didn't I tell you that as soon as I fucking update these things, something else was gonna happen? And it was huge.
Right? Own it. I'll be on that all day. Straight up pimping. If you want to, you can find me in the. I'm on it. I'm on it. Time and time again, I do the dirty to myself again. What did I do? The dirty to myself? What?
Dirty to yourself.
I'm wilding. 20 minutes to lock, Nation.
20 minutes to lock. Lock Nation. Hanging out with the Rock Nation. Yo, my build just got crazy different now because I'm getting a lot more Oubre. I'm with that. I don't know what I did there. Must have unlocked some secret ass shit because I'm getting more of that shit. Getting more Aiden. I'm with it. So who is it all the way? Who am I not getting?
Hey,
oh
Can you do an on-off tool for Charlotte for me?
Hold on 1 second. For some reason. What the fuck? Oh, what the hell? Did I do that shit again?
What? It's like a report from 3 years ago?
No, I fucking... Oh, yeah, I'm a dumbass. That's what. Chicken butt, Paulie, chicken butt. Remember I told you earlier that I uploaded the DraftKings, the FanDuel projections into the DraftKings optimizer? I did the same thing again, so I got confused for a second. But let me just upload this, and then I will holla at a player when you see him in the streets, you know.
Screet.
What up?
Squeep up.
What up, pimp?
Pimp?
What up, pimp?
Yo, this on-off tool for a pimp.
All right, what you want me to do?
On-off tool Charlotte in last month without Devontae Grizzy.
You want me to first do it like on the season and then look at the last month, or no?
No. I really just like to see what's been happening lately because like team dynamics changed so much.
It's just
like,
Graham that's missing, right? That's it.
That's the only one I care about.
No, yeah. I'm just saying, there's no other injuries there, though, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this season, last 3 months, last 4 weeks, run quarry.
Yeah.
Let's run that quarry, son.
Yeah, there is no other injury. That's the truth.
Terry Rozier, 24.9% usage rate, 1.05 fantasy points per minute. Dwayne Bacon, 19.4% usage rate, 0.66 fantasy points per minute. Malik Monk, 22.2% usage rate, 0.93 fantasy points per minute. Miles Bridges, 19.6, 0.89 fantasy points per minute. Let's see who actually gets the big boosts. Nobody, like, as far as actual increase, it's nothing substantial. It's, like, pretty minimal.
Okay.
But, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of minutes and usage. Like, that's... You know what it is? It's because he plays so much. These guys don't play a lot without him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's look at the course of a season.
Yeah, you could even do a season with him, and that'd be pretty accurate.
Because he plays so much.
Because they really haven't had much.
Yeah, they don't really have a sample with him off. Oh, look, he's been playing. He plays big minutes, son. So, okay, I told you to get rid of Devontae Graham, and you just said fuck you. So, I'm gonna just refresh the page here and try it again.
Y'all got me fucked.
They do though.
Do that. Nobody. Do that.
The Knicks game's not first, right? Oh, it is a 7 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Damn, we got 15 minutes to make some decisions real quick up in here.
On that. I'll be on that all day.
Decisions real quick up in here.
Quick and hard.
Long.
Hard and long.
Don't forget about the long. Can't be doing all that.
You like Will Barton at 6,600?
I do, man. He's a guy that's kind of going to get... I'm going to be honest. He's going to get lost in the shuffle for me. I know he is.
Yeah, he's 1% for sure. Like, no doubt. He's going to be 1%
Yeah,
on.
no doubt. No about it. There's too many guys at that position that people are going to want to jam in. You know how that go. Up in here. Shit, I don't want to bump all the way back to that, bro.
I kind of edge.
Alright.
Dude, I only have like Middleton on stock projections, projecting to like 1 minute. I gotta jack that shit up.
Price. It's priced out. This is priced out.
Some of that. Give me some of that. Alright, Brad Beal. Can jack you up even more.
Charlotte.
Damn, that news just like
rocked the world, man. That was that. I mean, honestly, like straight up, nation. I'm gonna explain to you something. Like, listen, we love the show. We love talking to you, and that's why you should hit the like button if you haven't already, because we are doing this for the nation. But it is obviously stressful to be on a stream at the same time you're trying to build 150 or whatever teams you're trying to make and all that shit. But this is why we do it, because we think it's important. When you get news like this, you got to be able to react. You know what I mean? You got to be able to handle that. You got to be informed with the latest and greatest. You know what I mean?
37 lifestyles.
Pimps. You get it, pimps?
Yeah.
So Rozier, we got Malik Monk action.
I can't get rid of this Mikal Bridges. I gotta.
You'll never be able to get rid of that dude, man. It's not happening. He's always gonna be in your life forever.
Yeah, they got possessed. Fuck that guy.
That's it.
Fuck that motherfucker.
Forever.
He is gone.
Yo, do you think Cody Zeller benefits at all in this situation? Just because people get moved around? Like, is there any possibility where he benefits?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, I dig it.
No doubt, baby. Every time I come around the city, bling bling.
Yeah. Bling bling. I haven't heard that in a minute.
Cash Money Millionaires.
Yeah, buddy. Cash Money Millionaires. So how much monkey you about to play, bro? Because I know you've always been.
That shit. Want to stick us in the ass shit. Get that shit.
Bro, if you kill it too strong, YouTube's gonna hit us for copyright.
I know they're gonna hit it hard.
You hit that shit too hard, they're gonna. I'm telling you, it's coming. Hit us up. They will hit us up. Ram Big Locks when you see Tupac. I don't care what nobody says. Hit 'em up is the best hype song ever.
You got that hypey? Did you see the episode where he did the hypey stuff? Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, God. Kyle Bogart says, is Terry a lock now?
Yes.
Let me see. Did they announce a starting lineup? Oh, Bacon will start in place. There you go. Bacon's going to start in place of Graham. Holla
for $1.
Need that money for tomorrow, you know. So, yeah, Bacon's that guy, right? Like, Bacon's that guy that's going to get you, what you was looking for. Bacon.
A-Town all day.
A-Town all day with the bacon. Baconators.
Double that bacon with cheese. My projections. Let's go. How many games started 7 though? Just the Knicks?
The two. The Knicks and I think the Golden State Sixers game also.
Alright.
So they call it bacon. Yeah. He's mistaken.
They got when you. It must just be my shit. When I dropped the export lineup thing, I had
they put an announcement out. You got to choose the second one. They said.
Oh really? Wow, that's huge fucking information.
Yeah, they put something out. If you refresh your screen, they should have something at the top telling you that.
Yo, they got me fucked
no
up.
Way, bro. No way. How much bacon you playing now, brah?
I don't know, 20, 25, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
How many minutes do you think he plays, man? You know what I mean?
28.
28.
A lot.
Damn, son. Man, if you project him for something like that, you're probably gonna end up with a lot, bro. You're gonna end up with a lot, man. Oh.
I think with guys like that, you got to just make your own point projection. You can't just minute his point per dollar.
I'm just thinking, you're right, because there are paths for him not to succeed. Malik Monk and Batum and some of these guys, if he's not playing well,
Whatever his point per minute is on the season is nowhere near what it's going to reflect today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would just come up with what you think he does and put that in. That's how I handle those kind of things.
No, I mean, listen, he's min price, so it's like you don't have to project him for much to, to make him a good option.
I mean, you got Marv Williams over there, pretty cheap. You got one of those Martin brothers. I think Cody's the one that plays. I'm not positive on that, but there's options with Charlotte beyond just the obvious.
Yeah, I know.
Slick Willie Hernan Gomez in a revenge spot. What? No, I'm just kidding.
Trying to fight off all these freaking. It's trying to give me a lot of Charlotte. Listen, and I'm good. I'm good with some of these guys, but it's trying to give me guys that don't make sense to me. Why are you trying to give me?
That's a very.
What's up?
Overall, that's a very slow game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the lowest total on the board, so I'm sitting here trying to.
And
it off.
30 points lower than Milwaukee, Washington.
Right.
So it doesn't have quite the appeal.
No, it does not have the appeal. Yeah, I'm not even getting
10 minutes to lock, though.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. Don't talk to me like that.
Oh, I said some shit like that to Amy the other day, She wants me to quit smoking, quit smoking cigarettes and stuff, and she's right, I need to stop. But you know how it is. People that do smoke, it's not easy to stop. So when people get on you, you get annoyed. So like, she used to, she's kind of getting on me about quitting, and I think I was getting ready to go outside. I looked at her and I was like, stop stalking my life. I just walked outside.
And that's why you slept in the doghouse the last 2 days?
Yes, that's why, yeah. Yes, that would be correct.
It is how it is.
That is how it is, yes.
At least you had a Wi-Fi connection to sweat your DFS, right?
yeah, that would be glorious.
Dropping sevens.
Sevens and dirties and nations and stuff.
All that.
Yo, how much Cody Zeller you ended up with, bro? Because, like, this just...
I'm not there yet, but 25.
You better get there, bro.
Easy on that shit. I really don't. Right? Except for Terry Rowe and Malik Monk and the dude we were talking about, Bacon Burger.
Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of bacon either way. Shit.
Bacon.
Because the guard is it's such a strong position. It's strong like bull.
Mm-hmm.
Strong like bull. Strong like bull. Mm-hmm. Strong like bull. Gonna do more updates. Yeah, updates. Because we gotta update all these updates. Bacon. Yeah, man. What's up, Bacon? Shit. Bridges is now in my life all of a sudden. I feel like this news just is gonna now. I really don't know what to anticipate for ownership. Like I'm really kind of whoa, what are people gonna do now? You know what I mean? Like it just rocked the worlds of many.
I feel you.
In a world. Wait, just get something else. Wait, Devontae Graham will start. Oh shit, they scammed us, bro.
What?
We got scammed.
Yo, that's cold.
We got scammed,
that's
son.
Fucked up.
Oh hell no. Hold up.
Yo,
Fantasy Lab says update. Graham will start.
What the? Why did they do that?
Oh dear. Oh,
that's that. Dear. That's that bullshit.
That is that bullshit.
They got me fucked up.
They got us all fucked up. Shit.
That's that.
Man, you gotta be kidding me.
I gotta reverse all this. I ain't got the time.
Yo, for real.
Make sure you get Graham back into the pool.
Yeah, no, man. This is straight scramble mode. Scramble status now. Scrambling horde and long. Horde and long.
Like Terry Rowe, but that's going to make Devontae Graham be like my favorite one now.
Yeah, for sure.
He has the highest ceiling, and everyone's going to forget about him. I got to lower Malik.
I don't understand. How could they go from him being out and Bacon is going to start for sure to all of a sudden, no, Graham is starting?
I had just basically locked button Malik Monk.
I'm sure you did.
I was ready. And, now my life's ruined again.
Now we got 5 minutes.
6 minutes to lock.
Oh, shit.
Great.
Impeccable.
Great.
Timing was impeccable.
Impeccable. My boy Walter, his jump shot was impeccable. Exactly. You couldn't block it.
Exactly.
I did.
Alright, then shit.
186, holla. $79 time.
Pelicans will start Ball, Holiday, Ingram, Favors, and Williamson. Kristaps Porzingis will play. Now the news is starting to percolate. Man, that's some bullshit. So let me check and see. So we don't have they haven't announced the starting lineup, but they're trying to tell it. It's 4 minutes before the game starts. We're getting all this bullshit.
It's that crunch time. 5 minutes to lock, nation. Do the dirty.
That's it. Let's go. Let's go.
Get your Brad Beal exposures up.
Get him up, though.
And make sure. I can't believe you didn't tell me about that second thing, bro.
What second thing, bro?
That could have ruined the second drop down on the crunchy.
I figured you would have seen that shit. You don't update your shit, bro?
Yeah, because you hit refresh, it messes with all the settings you done did to yourself.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking. I need to stop freaking around and just get my shit in there like somewhere. Here.
I mean, only the Knicks game locked, right? So, like, we can do the free balling and all that shit after.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. We got like 4 minutes, roughly. I'm just going to get something up, and then I'll take it from there.
Put them up.
I said hands up. But yeah, that Graham curveball, yo, they better not be fucking with us. I tell you what. If I get another one of them things, I'll be pissed. But I don't. So far, nothing else. Waiting on that news though. Don't trust him. I don't trust him. Never trust him.
How much Beal did you play?
I'll tell you in 1 sec. I just gotta make sure I get this shit in. But a lot. I can tell you that. A lot. Like a whole lot, son. Oh shit, for real though? Gonna make me do it like this? Bastard.
Go down in the DM.
Hey, shit going down to my DMs. I could tell you that, son. Boom. All right, so I got something up. Now I can at least,
Yeah, 2 minutes.
2 minutes, nation. 2 minutes is all we got. Let's go.
Damn, that's just like annoying, you know? We could have been like, you know, hyper analyzing, focusing on shit that matters. Instead, we just had that curveball just like dominate the most minutes of the session. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
It's fuck. They got me fucked up.
They do though. That was just like a disaster. The way that all transpired and whatnot. You know what I mean? It was just pure. We got 2 minutes here. Shit. To answer your question about Beal, I think I have like 80-something% of him going heavy, beast mode.
Real heavy. I like that conviction
status, baby. What we here to do? We here to win it all, man. Here to win, donkey style, long donkey style. You know what I'm talking about.
All day, A-Town.
All day. Hornets will start Graham, Rozier, Bridges, Washington, Zeller. At least we got confirmation that.
Every 1 minute block, you know, it's nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, it's true. And now, like you said, though, man, Graham's ownership should be crazy little. Either that or people had him in, didn't notice, and they're about to get lucky as hell. They don't even know. You know? They don't realize that was a thing. But wow, what a wild ride that was. Show for show.
Shaking.
Wild style.
All that was wild B-boy style.
Exactly.
I want to have some fun. Give me some of that.
No doubt.
Let me mute it.
Where we at here? We are about less than a minute away from lock. About that time. Nation, we are at lock. It is officially lock. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Wise Stream. Little wild, little crazy slate, little wild action going down. It's just madness. But good luck tonight, Nation. Do the dirty to the neighbor for the neighbor does it to you. We will be back at it tomorrow, so make sure you catch us 2 hours before lock. Once again, on the YouTube channel, I will be putting out. YouTube channel. Get some echo action, Paulie. What the hell? God damn. Get the echo action coming in on you, man. Horde Horde, man. We out of here. For myself, for the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck. Fuck.
Got me fucked up.